And look who it is. It's Stir the Pot. We're down to Kincaid. And I don't want to.
How are you? How are you? It's breaking in and out, so I'm trying to like put together bits and pieces of what you're saying. So
Wait, so I don't sound that good? Is that what's going on?
now you sound perfect. At first, I was hearing bits and pieces.
Should I get closer?
Not that close, but
Oh. uh, Miggy Strypes, thank you for coming in on Zebra Week. We, the
how are
fans,
you?
know a lot about reps, and I thought it'd be really, really cool to kind of herd a couple of people on stirring the pot. And I appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. So what we like to do is we peel back the curtain a little bit. I don't know if you've seen any of the stirring the pots because I'm hoping more than my pops and my mom watches. If you have you caught any specific episodes?
Uh,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We froze. We froze like an MFer.
oh,
We came.
look who! About time. Like you have one job, bro.
But hey, you know what? The way I feel it, I got a little tanked when I was talking to Ref Bill, and I don't know if we were going to get into that because I was asking if you watched an episode, but I think Ref Bill hacked my Skype, so hopefully we get no more trouble.
Shit. I wonder how easy your password is then. Jeez.
It's Kincaid files. What do you want me to? What else am I? Oh shit! Now I got to change it. Thanks, Miggy.
Good job. Good job,
Yeah.
Don.
Thanks. So anywho, before my production got cut off a little bit, we were talking. I don't know if you watched any of the episodes. Have you watched any of them at all? Or
Yeah, before Bill hacked into your Skype. Yeah, I actually seen his episode the other day. I've watched Mark Adam Haggerty, of course. You know,
that's good. Yes.
I gotta watch Gina's. Hers just came out yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
still gotta catch up on that one.
Ref, Blue Shoes, she was a delight. Gave us so much insight. We talked and talked and talked. I think it was almost a 2 hour conversation.
Wow, Gina's always great.
Yeah, and Ref Bill, I'm gonna rewind to Ref Bill. I got I got an empty mason jar over there. I had that apple cider, that apple pie moonshine.
I seen you. You was sipping.
God, oh, I made sure that I was so so litty, if as the kids say, so litty.
You was lit.
Yeah. So that was fantastic, and well, maybe not that fantastic, but it was fun. And what I like to do is pull back the curtain a little bit, and I heard it. I got a few zebras, and I heard them. I heard them.
You got jokes today.
That before we froze, but hey, you can never. Material is it comes in small batches because I'm not that bright, so I kind of recycle some shit. But Zebra Week, we've got we had Ref Gina, we had Ref L Ref, and we had Ref Bill. Now we've worked up to one Miggy Strypes, one Ref Miggy. Now, Ref Miggy, I guess I'm gonna start right off the bat because I am
Battlefront, baby.
The Battlefront, baby. And I've kind of sprinkled and talked to some of the men and women that I've had a chance to talk to. It's been sprinkled in a little bit, but if I'm not mistaken, and please tell us, is your home base in said Battlefront?
Yep, I would say so. I mean, that's where I've been honestly since the start of my career for the most part. I started off with those guys. It was a different thing before Battlefront. We're not gonna get into all that right now, but yeah, Battlefront, that's home.
Hey, I've been there since day one. I drove. I'm gonna say it was 2 hours because it's usually an hour drive, but there was like fucking 10 inches of snow out, and
Yeah.
it was canceled. So I kind of typed around and found Battlefront, and I went to that first show, and I've been going back every single time, except
I
missed.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
Good times.
Yeah.
That
Crazy times.
Yeah. Now that very first show, please kind of go through the motions because first off, was that your very first time reffing like in front of a crowd? Let's start there.
No, it wasn't. I've reffed a few shows before that. Nothing major. That was my first major show. I'll say that. My biggest crowd uh, that I had ref up to that date. So it was definitely more nerve wracking than even my first show. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So you felt that nervousness or the butterflies churning because that place
Oh,
for the
jam packed.
it was jam packed. It was like
Jam
probably
packed. In
400
the
people.
snow. In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow. Not only snow, in a fucking blizzard. It was crazy out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember.
the nerves got to you because of the crowd. Is that kind of what kind of got you going a little bit?
Um, yeah, I mean, seeing all those people there, like, and nobody at the time, like, I'm just a ref, quote unquote, but even then, like, the whole Miggy Stripes thing, nobody really knew about it. So, you know, even as a ref, a lot of the times we aren't a part of the match, but we are, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So yeah, just seeing like you said, over 400 people just packed into that building, like definitely brought nerves. Definitely brought nerves.
Whenever I seem to turn out, I went with my nephew who really doesn't go to too many of the independent things. And I called him because my dad, he was like, "You're a fucking loon." And I go, "Hey, I'm going anyways. I don't give a shit."
Yeah,
So I
dedicated, Don. That's why we love you.
well, thank you. I appreciate that, my man. So I took my nephew, and when we were when we got in there, we're looking around. We're like, man, we thought we were the crazy ones. Everybody came out to do something that night, and it happened to be Battlefront. The vibe, dude, talking about it right now.
Yeah,
No shit,
yeah.
I'm telling you, the vibe in that building was really like it seemed I don't know, more of a high profile indie show, if you will, at sorts, because it was just so slam jammed in there.
Oh,
Uh,
from start to finish, it was
yes.
just oh
No, that's a very valid point that I've never really talked to anybody about wrestler, announcer, or referee. Now, for you that don't always go to the indie shows, what happens is there's a few matches, three, four. Then they take about a 15 to 30, all depending on how it goes. They take a break. The men and women come out from the back. They get over to their merch area. They sell, their stuff because, hey, that's where it's at right there. And then we come back from intermission. Then we usually get about, two or three or four, however, depending how it's set up, more matches. And sometimes you brought up intermission. Sometimes you lose a portion of the crowd. I've been in a band many years. Same exact thing when you go in between sets.
yeah.
At Battlefront, dude, those guys, even to what today, they don't file out. They stay till the end of Battlefront. Is that something that you only see for the most part in Battlefront and the promotions that you do work?
Um, I mean, I work a lot of different promotions. Lately, you've seen me. We've been going to a lot of different shows, trying to get a lot in there. Because of this quarantine, there hasn't been anything, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Going crazy, but yeah, definitely the the fans are what makes it, So seeing them there, and a lot of them do stay till the end, like you said, and it's great because they feed into it, hearing them cheer for you, even if it's slow count ref or it's the two, yeah, and yeah, they copy me or whatever to the wrestlers, like them, like the holy shit moments, stuff like that, like
Yeah.
that's what it's all for. So I try, any show I go to, like whether it's the first match, the third match, you look at it as the main event. You try to make sure, you do what you got to do. You stay in position to help those guys if they need help, anything like that. So that's your goal, is to make the fans want to stay till the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not just saying Battlefront is the only company that I see. Most of the people stay with only a small portion of the people that do fan out if they do, want to leave or whatever. Because sometimes companies start a little bit later, that 7:30 or 8 mark. Once you start at those kind of times, it gets way too late for the families to kind of hang there. And
Yeah.
I feel that's where a lot of the people leave at intermission when it starts at that 7:30, 8 o'clock. Do you like it when it starts maybe 5:36 area or
Um,
when like
I'll be honest with you. Probably 6:30 would be the best ideal time. Obviously, if it's a Friday show, that's not always possible because people getting out of work, so 7:30 is more ideal for Fridays, I would say. But the weekend, if you could get a 6:30 latest 7 in there, out by 9:30, 10 latest, even that's kind of pushing it sometimes. I feel like
mother trucker? I just lost. Oh, there he is.
Uh, uh,
Oh,
I was just gonna tell you, you gotta fire your production crew because this is ridiculous.
okay. So a couple things. I don't have a port connection on my end. It's a one-man crew. It's Kincaid. I know it's a little dumpy. I know it's a little ghetto, and I know it's not professional. But give me a break.
You got it. Just because you said it's kind of ghetto, so you got me there.
Hey, I thank you. I appreciate that. No, you've taken the time to talk to us, the fans, but you've taken the time out of this whole Kin COVID thing that's going. Woo, Kin COVID. I hope you're dodging that Kin COVID because we don't want Miggy on that
Like
train.
the Matrix, like the Matrix.
Yeah, it is like a matrix. I know it's a serious thing. I try to make a little light. We don't like.
No, yeah, of course.
What is Miggy? Are you first off? Are you in a job to where you have an essential thing going on, or is Miggy quarantined?
Pretty much for the most part quarantined. My job is
Okay.
closed. So just trying to stick it out in the house. Only been going to the grocery stores. Other than that, just been in the house, stuff like that. So
So,
it
I,
sucks. It
yeah,
sucks.
I'm sure. I mean, my job, I go out there, and because it's a food service, so we kind of do our thing. I've been, dodging and weaving. I've been okay so far.
You gotta go
Uh,
out there with a hazard suit.
I was this close, but my boss would probably find a good kick out of it. But imagine going to a customer's door and being like, "Yeah, that'll be 1995."
Hey,
Are
you
you?
gotta be safe. You gotta be safe. I'm sure they'd understand.
Woo! Oh man, that's how we scare people away is when Kincaid puts that shit over his face and demands money. That's no good.
Oh, okay. You can't cover the moneymaker, huh? You got the Miz over here.
Ooh, not this. God no. I talked to Mr. Recon last night. That man is gorgeous. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So, Ref Miggy, how long? Because I like to kind of get a gauge on how long you guys and girls have been in the business. Because I used to see Ref Miggy at shows at different companies. And do you want to talk about a freaky fan, a vocal fan, a passionate fan? That was my man, Miggy Strypes, before he got into roughing.
All right. Yeah. There we
How
go. I missed most of your question because you lagged out again.
you?
So you want to rewind on that question?
I was just telling about how I used to watch you as a fan, being a fan, and you were vocal, you were passionate, you were loud. You would head some of the chants, most of the chants at times. What made Miggy go from a fan into a referee? How long you been doing it in the biz?
Um. So Battlefront started what? 2018 or 2017?
The end of 18.
The end of 18. Oh, okay. So I'd say probably since then, the beginning of 18 or the end of 17, if I'm not mistaken. I did about maybe 4 or 5 shows before Battlefront's debut. Nothing too crazy. But I did a couple shows. Then Battlefront. So probably going on 2.5, almost 3 years.
Now that I think back, I'm gonna say it was February of 2019. And no, that's
Okay.
sorry, February. Yeah, and you gotta say it correctly, February. February. You gotta say February. 2019, I
So
think.
so yeah, around 2018. I can't remember the exact date, but 2018.
Now they had an outdoor show. It was that first summer they were running,
Oh yeah.
and it was the summer bash, and it was under a pavilion at the Elks Lodge where they normally run in Ludlow. Man, or whatever, not an Elks
So
Lodge.
so that was 2018 then, because that outdoor show was not in 2019. That wasn't last year.
Then I'm twisted. Then I'm just talking.
Hey, I'm right there with you, man. This quarantine's got me all over the place. So
Hey,
right now I don't know if it's 2020 or 2050. Like, how long have we been in this house?
hey, Bernie Sanders is a president. Did you know that?
Really? Hey,
Yeah.
we'll leave the presidency alone right now.
Yes, please. We don't do politics or religion or any of that stuff on here. So that outdoor show I'm bringing up specifically, I love outdoor shows.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, do you enjoy the outdoor stuff? Is it a little bit different to work outdoors than it is inside? Because it makes my curiosity rumble.
Honestly, I think I've done maybe 2 or 3 outdoor shows. They're all great, honestly. It's nicer because if it's a night show, and it's on a summer day, you got that nice breeze at night or whatever, the lights over you. It's definitely a lot different than being inside. Don't get me wrong. Venues inside are great, depending on the venue, though. You have some venues that you just, you always want to go back to. But
Yeah.
Outdoor shows are something special, I would say.
I think so too, because I like the ambiance of, because at some of those outdoor shows, and I know Battlefront does chairs, but at some of them there's not even any chairs, and you're kind of just circling around the ring at times, not all places, but that's happened. I've been into a couple of them, so things like that, just the outdoor ambiance makes it a little bit different, I think.
And do you remember who showed up that night?
Just incredible.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was
swing,
crazy.
yeah, swinging.
Oh yeah.
And
Almost took my head off.
that close. Now, you speak of that was my very first, and I've only done very little with Just Incredible. That night, I asked him to do a promo. Why the fuck I ever did that, I'll never know. Because holy shit, he scared the living shit out of me as a Kincaid, and it's just, dude, I should have never did that to him. Holy fuck, he scared the shit out of me. But my point being is that specific promo, we were set in a hallway. If you remember the setup outside by the pavilion,
Yeah.
and where the concessions was.
Yeah.
But it was way after the show. The fans were already gone. There was only wrestlers, and in this hallway was me, Just Incredible, Ryan Frost to the side in the hallway with me. Thank God, because what if I? And then
You would have got killed, Don.
and at the beginning of that little hallway, right there at the concessions, there had to be maybe 15 or 20 wrestlers just stopped, taking down the ring, and watched Just Incredible cut this promo. And it has to be one of my favorite promos that I've done ever with anybody, just because when I got done, I was pinned against the wall with the phone like this in my face instead of being like this, because he just kept getting more and more and more. But whenever I seen everybody down there, they were like, so that's how you do a fucking promo, Kincaid. And I'm like, my God, there was this little environment, like an ambiance going on when Just Incredible cut that promo. I've never been in anything like that. That was
you had to change yourself after, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, skid marks ain't no shit. There was sharks going on.
Literally.
Whew. That was crazy, man. I'll never
No,
forget.
yeah, he's definitely cool to work with. He's done a couple Battlefront shows. I'd
Mhm.
say seen him maybe 5 or 6 times. I mean, probably more.
Yeah.
Um, Always a pleasure. Um,
I'm to
Definitely.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
I'm to hear that he's great to work in the ring with. He's very safe. He knows what's going on. I mean, obviously, he's been in the business, but
Oh,
just
for a
because you
long
have years
time.
in the business doesn't mean you're always comfortable in the ring with other people. And I hear that a lot about, working with Justin.
Right, right. I mean, the matches I've seen with him, they've always you've seen a couple of hardcore matches. I think the last one they had in January, he went against Rick Recon, right?
Yep.
It was him and Justin, and I don't know if you guys talked about that match, but I mean, from what it looked like to me, everything was on. They both worked great with each other. Um, you know, Rick looked like he's been doing it as long as Justin, so that's always good.
Yeah, definitely. Because what I like to discuss with everybody is safety's got to be first in
Hmm.
wrestling. And finding your way as a ref, it's just this kind of the same way, but I mean, it's a little bit different, probably a little bit easier because you don't have a character to build or invest in. You're a referee, you have a job to do. But getting in that ring, safety's first. Has there
Always.
have you ever been tweaked or any injuries as a ref up in your short career right now?
Um, I can honestly say I'm blessed to where nothing serious. I've taken a kendo stick shot by Frost. I've
Amazing.
taken a chi breaker. I've taken a kick by Chris Cannon. So I mean, I've taken a couple of shots, but thank God nothing to where it's kept me out. So you
Hey,
know,
you brought up that kick to Chris Cannon, and he just shared that on the face page.
did
Very
he?
because he's calling all of us pussies and such on his face page, and he's trying to alert us on our softness. First off, how did you survive a big old boot from Chris Cannon? Holy shit! Uh, you don't come back from something like that very easily.
I'll tell you one thing. It definitely did hurt, but like you were saying, he's calling everybody pussies and all this and that. But you super kicked the ref, so I mean, let's be real here. You
Wow.
know,
Hopefully, hopefully for Miggy's life, Chris Cannon will never watch. You know what? Chris Cannon don't watch shit, man. There ain't no way he watches anything.
well, I'm gonna have to stay quarantined a little longer after this comes out. You're on your own. I don't condone anything you say or have anything to do with what you say.
Kincaid's views are not supported by Ref Miggy.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Oh God, Ref Miggy, we have some of the best times, the fans and Ref Miggy Stripe. But you know what? The fans have kind of warmed up a little more over time. And they say that referees aren't supposed to be part of the show or part of the match, and you're not supposed to take away from the workers and stuff like that. You have a job to do, you do it. And I'm not saying you go in there, count 1, 2, 3, that's your job, but they say to not, don't take attention away from the match, from the two men or women who's wrestling or such. But I'll tell you, man, the fans have warmed up to certain referees in our local scene, and you are one of them. And man, do we like to F with Miggy Strypes?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Not,
Yep.
not just like a sprinkle. Oh no, every single
Full
match
force.
something
Full
comes out,
force.
we mess with Ref Miggy Stripes. We have fun with it. I want to kind of get your take on all of that because it is wrestling and you never can tell. Uh, do you feed off of us with all of that jazz going on? Do you enjoy it? Because you give it right back to us. That's obvious. But do you kind of get that buzz off of that?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what's a wrestler's job? To either make a fan hate him or like him, right? So even though you said, even though I'm a ref, I mean, I don't just count a one, two, three. Yes, that's the most important job, obviously, but I feel when a wrestler themselves wants to get a ref angle or a ref involved in the match, oh, I love that. Like, I'm willing. I'm willing to take bumps, whatever. Like, I don't care. I love it. I love it. Um, but it, yeah, you're right. Like, you don't want it to take away from the match, or you don't want it to take away from the wrestler. So a lot of the times it is hard. But I mean, I can't control you guys. I can't control you guys. You guys want to yell slow count, or you guys want to, yell at me. I can't do nothing about it. I mean, sometimes I do want to get out of the ring and drop kick you. That's that's just you personally, but yeah, it's definitely a great feeling though when you do hear a crowd behind you, even as a rep. Slow count Miggy. Like, I just want to be like, you guys are assholes. Because even if I don't count slow, you guys want to be sitting here and saying slow count Migs. Like,
Yes.
can't win with you guys.
Now, there's a couple things. There's that slow count Miggy, which runs, and it doesn't just stay in Battlefront, which is the sweet nectar of it all, because it travels with us, the fans, and it's kind of sprinkled from one company to another. And I find that very amazing because of the relationship and
Love you too.
build up.
Sorry, was talking to my girlfriend.
That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, the whole getting on Miggy has sprinkled from one promotion to another because of the fans, and it's been hilarious. Now we do the slow count ref or slow count Miggy. Either way, it all works. But there's one that started a little bit later in the game between oh god, I love this one. Between me and one Laura C. We usually sit next to each other along with my dad at the show, and I kind of have learned the word trash or garbage in Spanish, and we love to as soon as Miggy Strypes comes out of the curtain. Now,
it's a tradition now, from what I see.
It is. And I think it was the very first time I want to say we were at ICE specifically, and you looked right at the camera and you were like, pendejo. One of my all-time favorite videos that I've ever taken right there.
What did I say? You learned that from my brother,
yes.
HBO.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let me take one from my brother HBO. Pendejo.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So that's a good one. That's always a blast. But then, if you've never seen Miggy Strypes in the ring, he's very vocal. And when he says two, it's not just two. It's just big. It's long and it's loud. And there's one specific fan that made a meme of Ref Miggy Strypes. His name is Bob Thorpe. We call him Brother Bob, and he's a joy to have at Battlefront. And he took a seagull, and then it does that thing where, he's like, he takes a big gasp in, and then his mouth is wide open, and it says, Ref Miggy Strypes. And on the bottom with the two, oh my God.
It was like dragged out, right?
Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
Me taking the videos, the interaction, and Bob Thorpe and such, just doing stupid shit. That's got to kind of give you a little something like, I'm doing my job right. We're having fun. I'm still being professional. I just think it's a ton of fun that we get to interact with Ref Miggy, and I appreciate that so much, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, because without you guys, as you see, we wouldn't be anything. And we're kind of learning that the hard way right now with this whole quarantine, because you can't do anything. You can't perform in front of anybody. You can't do shows right now, so it's hard. But even when I was doing the shows, the fans are definitely what keeps you coming back and wanting to do more and more. And then branching out, even with that, like I started doing newer promotions. I did ACW and the mall, and you seen that was over 2,000 people what was it? 3, 4 floors just full of people. Yeah, just full of people watching over the balcony. All that, like that was amazing right there. Um, uh, there's just so many different ones that
I
I've
know.
just worked alone since January that I've debuted, since January that I can't even think off the top of my head. Capital Wrestling, shout out to Mark Adam Haggerty. He got me in there. That was an amazing, amazing experience. I worked the main event there, the homicide match. Let me tell you, holy
It,
crap.
now,
Holy shit.
now you're giving us some passion from that match. Describe how it went in that, because we weren't able to see that. But kind of give us a little story about that match and how it felt to you as a referee.
So basically, it was a last minute thing. I hit up Mark Adam. He said, come down. I was in the area. It took place in Brooklyn. So I went down and they're like, oh, yeah, you got the first match and the main event. It's my first time there. Yeah. I'm like, all right. Like, all right. So, like, the main event, it's amazing that they trusted me to, my first time there to have the main event, and especially it was a huge match. It was a 6-man tag. I can't quite remember the other guys that were with Homicide, but I know it was Homicide, and then he had 2 people tagging with him versus the Ugly Ducklings, and I can't remember the other person on the Ugly Ducklings team, but just the whole match was crazy. Like it was a hardcore match if I'm not mistaken, a street fight. Yeah, and those guys, holy shit! Like being a ref in there, like I had to just be like getting out of the way like Flash because they were just diving, jumping. Like you wouldn't think like Homicide or these other guys would have been doing moves like that or anything crazy like that, but they were just like putting each other's bodies like through hell, and it was just an amazing match. And to be a part of that, like I said, the main event for my first time at Capital Wrestling, I think they record for YouTube and all that. They have their own YouTube. They're on TV at certain times, if I'm not mistaken. So like that was a huge moment to get in there and work a match like that, especially with such a high name like that. Homicide, from TNA, LAX, like that. Growing up and watching them, that was a huge faction in wrestling. Like LAX, whew.
Watching you describe the match, your smile hasn't left. That is what wrestling is all about, my man. It's the memories that you would never be part of if you didn't go to wrestling and stuff. So some people frown upon wrestling, and the ones that are in wrestling and the fans that enjoy it really enjoy it. So if you haven't, and you know what, I've never said this before. If you haven't checked out an independent wrestling show, and I know for you guys and girls that watch just WWE or you just go to the WWE shows, and I know if you see there's no big production, there's no huge stage, there's not 20,000 people, but son of a bitch does the ambiance, the environment, and the interaction between us and everybody that works in that ring, no matter if it's the ring announcer to the manager to the referee to the worker, the wrestler, just get out and check one. If you don't like it, that's fine. I mean, give it a shot because indie wrestling is a lot of fun.
And you were saying for those who only watch WWE or AEW or whatever major company, half the time, where do you think half those guys came from?
Exactly. Now,
Indie promotions.
yeah, no, speaking of which, you know what I love as a fan is watching, because that New England Wrestling Academy, headed by Brian Fury, they've had so many stars that have already come through our area and gone up to the big lights.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes has gone on to be Sasha. You've got Dijak, who's the Dijakovic.
Yeah.
The Viking
NXT.
guy.
The War Raiders. Yeah. Yep.
So the stars, and that's just one school and only like 3 names. imagine when you see the familiar faces in our area getting in onto that NXT camera or what have you. Doesn't that make you feel just like, holy fuck, I've seen them come right up?
Especially if you've worked one of their matches or something like that. Like, even if you haven't, even seeing them at a show,
Right.
oh, I was just with this person 3-4 months ago, and now look at them, AEW or WWE. Like, that definitely, yeah, it makes you like, damn. You know how much talent we have around here with CT, Test of Strength, New York. You know how huge New York is. Rhode Island, Mass. Like, there's so much talent around here. It's just insane. And people need to realize you need to invest in your local talent. You know, I mean, some of these guys live off of this. You know, like some guys are hurting right now with all this going on. You know, so after all this, indie wrestling needs to be supported, and it starts with the local people around here. Like, if you're from CT, go support Test of Strength or PAPW. Like, if you're from Rhode Island, and that's another one. I want to get up to Rhode Island once all this is over. XWA, if I'm not mistaken. I know they got the Chop Shop, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I know there's about maybe 2 or 3 other promotions up in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. And the XWA Center, it's a big building. It's its own little setting, and
which is the one we just did in February. I think it was that they had to cancel like Drake Evans' promotion.
That was Survival Championship Wrestling up in
Yeah, like that. Like, I can't wait till they're able to do another show. Like, that sucks so bad. We did one show, and then the other 2 had to be canceled because this whole virus thing. So, like, I can't wait till all this gets back so we can just go back to normal and we can perform for the fans, you know, because it's hard. It's hard.
At the XWA Center, big building, holds quite a few people, I must say. They got
to get in there.
Yeah, man, that's a fun place. And you spoke of the Chop Shop. That's got like at least 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different promotions that circulate and use that one spot. So you can definitely get some work out of that area. And man, the guys and girls that are working out that area, I've been starting to have come on, starting to pop, because I've never been able to really get them on interviews because of the travel. But now we're doing this. Right. They've been coming on, and man, what a fun scene the Rhode Island scene is out there. It's a really good time. You love it.
Yeah, no, like I said, I see clips and I hear about it. So definitely on my list this year once this stuff goes back to normal, if it does.
You as a fan, you've only been in this in the biz for a very short time. As a fan, do you still watch wrestling? And I find that when wrestlers or anybody that's been in the business for quite a bit of time, they like to critique what's going on the TV. Do you still watch wrestling as a fan, or do you watch it as a worker and kind of pick it apart?
A little bit of both, honestly, because there's some matches that are just like, so you just like, you're watching what they do and you're like, oh, they were supposed to do this, or maybe, you know, the ref messed up on something. You always look at that. But I totally lost my train of thought, Don.
We were
oh, you know, man. What? I hope this all gets edited.
Oh, see, that's what you don't understand. Nothing ever gets edited from Stern to Pop. Nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nothing. All right. Ronnie Ribs, I think I was supposed to take something out for him, and I said, no way. And he was like, all right.
Well, that's great. They're going to be like, all right, he was talking then.
But we were talking about, do you watch wrestling as a fan or as a worker when you do watch wrestling?
But, yeah, so it depends on the match, all that. Like, there's matches where you're just, like, drawn in, you're like, holy shit. And then there's, like I said, there's other matches where you're just like, all right, y'all should have done this and you would have got this kind of pop, or
Right.
something like that.
So what's your go-to when you turn on the tube for some wrestling? Is it on the internet or is it one of the major promotions that's,
Um, it's a little mix of everything. Like I try to stay current with all the indie guys too, like watching them and all that. But I do watch WWE sometimes. Try to watch the pay-per-views at least, like Raw and SmackDown, every now and then. Lately, but the pay-per-views for the most part.
yeah.
Indie, like I said, I try to keep track with them and see what's going on. Who's the hottest indie wrestler around right now, or stuff like that.
Who do you like on the indie scene right now? I don't think I've ever asked anybody that.
Um, to be honest with you, I like this is gonna be funny because it's Bobby Orlando, like the whole gold gimmick. Oh my god, yeah, he's money. He's money. One of them was Orange Cassidy. I think he's with AEW right now.
Yeah, he is,
But
but let's hit the Pahuse button. The Pahuse. Check this out. I reached out to one Bobby Orlando to see if I could get him on Stirring the Pot, right?
yeah.
And he goes, I want to get this right because it was Bobby don't take gimmick off. That's what I got from Bobby Orlando. And I was like, but we just pulled the curtain back a little bit. Bobby don't pull the curtain back. And I'm like, okay.
You're gonna have a whole interview with him, and he's just gonna be like, Bobby doesn't answer questions.
Dude,
He's gonna Marshawn Lynch it.
Yeah. Okay, so I love Bobby Orlando. I am so pleased that you actually brought his name up very first off. You mentioned Orange Cassidy. Anybody else that you did?
Shit, off the top of my head, it's just so hard, man. There's a lot of guys like
So
that have pure talent. Like you can't just.
yeah, those two seem to be very character driven. Like it's not just a guy, some tights with a mean disposition. Those are like invested characters, and I'll use the word gimmicky, if you will, because not all characters have that full gimmick style to them. Do you like that more entertainment value of it, or do you like more of that mat wrestling, older school style? What do you prefer?
Um, See, this is gonna sound weird, but when those guys with the gimmicks can do the mat wrestling and all that, that's what I like. So, a huge example, Eddie Guerrero,
Mm-hmm.
my all-time favorite wrestler, knew how to wrestle 1,000%, and his gimmick, lie, cheat, steal, money. Like his whole gimmick, his whole wrestling style, like I thought it was just something like that was not seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if a wrestler is like that's what I like to see in a wrestler.
Do you have somebody specifically you would like to work a match for right now?
Oh,
That's a different
so
question. It's a different
indie or mainstream?
pick one because we want to know what's inside Miggy. That's what this.
Uh, Indie, damn, that's a hard question for indie. And I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like that
Wow.
one's a hard one for the indie. Yeah, like indie, there's a couple guys. I don't even want to get into that because that's gonna open up a whole new like chapter book. But like WWE, I would say Street Profits. Work. I would like to work one of their matches. That would be pretty cool.
Very entertaining. The people are invested on what they're doing, even from the NXT stint
Yeah.
they had. It really, the fans really dig them, the Street Profits. That's for sure, man.
Yeah.
I've seen a picture, and I've actually shared it not so far back of one ref Miggy Strypes. He was at a Raw, and I want to say Bailey was coming down the ring, and you had a pink sign, and it said, tell us what it said, please.
It said Battlefront Pro Wrestling.
And you were repping the company that is your home. You do not see that at all. Weren't you even wearing the stripes?
Yeah, it was actually. The sign got taken, but at least it got on TV.
Dude, it did. It got on TV on Bailey's entrance, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
I love that stuff. Anytime I see our boys and girls getting on that Raw snapshot stuff, oh man, I
Yeah,
get up, man. The female wrestling right now is probably some of the hottest it's ever been. Now we have a champion in Battlefront, and I know things are really weird, but Christina Marie, I had her on the show, and man, what a pleasure she was to talk to. I didn't get a little carried away because, hey, she'll fucking kill me, so I didn't want to cross any lines, you know? I did mention I followed her Facebook a little bit.
did you?
So, yeah, and we had a great time. I even drank the rest of my moonshine with her. It was effing amazing.
Yeah, she's always great to be around. I've worked with her a few times also. Well, I don't. I've worked maybe one of her matches, but I've seen her around a few times.
Well, that's my thing. I don't know who they could bring in to take this belt from Christina Marie because she's the center ring women's champion right now. Who maybe in our area who do you think could take that belt from one Christina Marie? Because we've got a lot of talented women on the scene right now. And I'm really curious if Ref Miggy Strypes was running a promotion, had Christina Marie as his champion, who would he bring in to try to dethrone her?
Oh, yo, you're putting me on the spot here, Don. Like, shit. If I ran a promotion, all right. So, I'm sure I think you actually have her coming up tomorrow.
Who?
So she's been around a couple months now, and she's got a couple matches in, and her fan reaction is amazing around here. Big Juicy.
She was already on, and oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. I know you don't watch them all. You don't have to. But, hey, Big Juicy is such a delight. Oh my God, she is so cute. Holy cow. But hey, don't mess with her in the ring.
No, she's definitely dangerous in that ring. So,
wow.
Like I said, I've seen her a couple times now within the last couple months, and I think the last time I saw her, she got a championship match.
She did.
And she almost won. Yeah, she almost won.
Yeah, it was against Ariella Nix.
Wasn't it? Yeah. I thought it was a triple threat. I'm sorry.
Well, there was an open challenge with a triple threat with one Davey Ann.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would love to get her on my show because I got a lot of the men, but I've only been able to there's so many, but a lot of them are already like shining on a different platform, and you can't get those ladies that have kind of been already circulated on our local scene.
They don't want to talk to you, Don. You gotta settle for Stripes.
Well, no, I'm not settling.
I'm just pointing.
well, maybe a little. But what I'm driving at, I would love to get more women on, and Davey Ann is definitely one I would love to have. Yeah. Oh, I do have the PvP Women's Champion, Ariella Nix. She's coming on. I cannot wait for that.
Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah.
She's also she's doing big things right now too. I've seen her a couple times before this whole quarantine thing, and she's like you said, she's a PvP Women's Champion right now. So yeah, she's around a lot of places. So.
I know we spoke of the promotions and different places that you've been, and you were talking about the Rhode Island area. Do you go to seminars as a referee? What happens is, for the fans that don't know, wrestlers or whatever, it doesn't even matter if it's a wrestler. It could be like Mark Adam Haggerty doing like a social media seminar type of thing. Do you go to some of these seminars where the men and women gather to gain the knowledge from the veterans in the business right now?
I'll be honest with you. Uh, a lot of the times when there were seminars, they're earlier in the day. So if there's a show, like the seminar will be around maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. A lot of the times I would have to work, um, and get out like a couple hours before the show, so I wouldn't be able to make it. So that was always something I regretted. So definitely after this quarantine, when there are seminars, gonna do my best to get into those because there's so much you can learn, and there's so many great people that have been in the area that have done seminars. So definitely on my list of things, more seminars because like I said, because of work, I haven't really had the chance to, but got to change that. Got to make some time.
Hey, and if you want to be invested into the business, sometimes you it's nothing's ever free, obviously, but
Oh, of course.
those seminars are so much worth. Sometimes they're 20, sometimes 25, 30, and they kind of work their way up, all depending on who's running the seminar. I've seen Muda come around for like $200.
Wow.
But my point being is, you go to one, you gain a little experience from that. It sprinkles, and you soak it in. You do it, and little by little by little, Miggy Strypes becomes a very honed ref from just a little bit of veteran experience.
Right.
And I think those are so beneficial. I've been to a couple myself, and
Right.
they are so beneficial. And I would love to see you go to some because I want Miggy Strypes to be a successful referee, which brings me to, are you looking to do this long term?
That's the goal. That's definitely the goal. This is what I love to do, reffing wise, whether it be reffing or anything in the business. But right now, this is what I want to do. I do plan on doing it as long as I can, and with God's blessing, and with the fans, either cheering me or booing me, whatever the case may be, I plan on doing this as long as I can.
Hey, that's good because we love to give you crap. You love to give us crap back. And it's it's those fan wrestler relationships that just happens to be with Ref Miggy. And man, is it fun, man. We have a blast. So yeah, we want to see Ref Miggy more and in more promotions. So if it's just not my mom and pop watching this, and maybe a couple of peers that actually want to see how this went, get Miggy Strypes on your show. Give him a chance because not all referees can really get their foot in the door because they're either always filled up, have their specific referees, but you never know. Card is subject to change. Ref Miggy always picks his gear. That's one thing I do personally know about Ref Miggy. No matter what show he goes to, if he's wearing street clothes, you know that his gear bag is right close with him. So, from me to you guys, if any promoters or anybody that needs a referee, get him in there, man. We love some Miggy Strypes. I didn't push Ref Bill like this, and I didn't push El Ref. They got shit going on. I don't need to push them guys. And Ref Bill, whatever. Give him some love. Get him on your show.
You won't regret it.
No, man, because when you hear, oh my God, it's amazing. Just that alone makes it worth it all.
Thank you. That's what I try to do too. Like doing all that, like theatrical wise, like you said, it's over the top. Like you guys love that, so seeing the fans like reacting to that and all that, like that's what it's all for. That's what it's all for.
And I know not always the more ridiculous and the more over the top, the more we get into it, but it has to be a little out of the comfort zone and a little bit different because wrestling is very different than anything.
Yeah, it is. Like to step in that ring, you gotta have heart, and a lot of you can't. And nope, not anybody can just go in that ring, whether it be a ref, a ring announcer, a worker. Like you can't just step in that ring. You know, you gotta have what it takes, and you gotta have heart.
I talk a lot about the drive it takes because it's not easy. I probably said this too many times, which makes it repetitive on these videos, but it's something that has to be, you know, projected because it takes so much to make wrestling happen from the setup, you know, from renting the venue to set up and just the whole thing. And you guys and girls, you give us some great times, you give us some great memories, and I hope that we kind of reciprocate that with you guys and girls when you go home. And you know, hey, maybe there was a high-profile match that was really in your mind that you were, but hopefully that we all kind of make a little mark on each other with the stinking little slow count ref and all of that. And I think it's really fun for everybody to enjoy wrestling and just make some good memories, you know?
Yeah.
So, Ref Miggy, this is part of Zebra Week, and I have one Ref Quinn coming up. And, yeah, you didn't think I had that kind of stroke, did you?
Let me tell you something. First of all, I don't think I've ever met him personally. Tell him I said hello. But that's one of my top goals this year is to hopefully get a show in with him. He is amazing. Like, all the stories I've heard about him, all the matches I've seen, any wrestler that's worked with him, not one bad thing said about him. And that is one of my top goals is to get a show in with him. And hopefully, I can do that. Hopefully sooner than later, but that's one of my top goals is to get a show in with him. So tell him if he's listening, or well, you'll see him later. I need that.
I'll sprinkle in some Miggy Strypes just for you, my man. Just
I know
because
you got pull. I know you got pull.
Yeah. Whenever he agreed, and I go, do you know who I am? Because I don't think you know. Because I don't know if you're ready for this ride that we're gonna take.
Have you ever met him?
I have.
Okay.
I have. I messed with him a little bit, you know. Not like I do with you guys. We mess around a little bit. I've shared a few spots that he. Check this out. That brings me to Blitzkrieg one time. He climbed up a couple ropes because all of the men and women were doing these crazy dive spots. He climbed up 2 ropes and jumped out onto everybody else. He looked at the crowd. He goes like this. He gets up to the rope. He looks around.
I think I actually did see a clip of that, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god, I love that clip. Time out. I can watch it in a fucking loop. Oh my god, I love that.
But yeah, like just his whole demeanor, like it's just so like professional and like yeah, like I said, I've never heard one bad thing about him. So
there are so many very dedicated and top-notch professional referees, male or female, in our area, state to state in our area. Ref Quinn has to be the most respected ref I've ever been associated with, talked in conversation about. Like you're saying, never heard a bad word. That guy is probably, maybe even in all of wrestling in our entire area.
Yeah.
Is probably the most respected guy.
I would say so.
Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised that he said yes. I go, maybe you should want to check it out beforehand. He goes, no, I'm good. I go, okay, I won't drink the time. We should have a good time.
Hey, Don, I mean, a lot of people are going to agree to things they usually wouldn't agree if this quarantine wasn't happening, so you got lucky probably.
Thanks for the fucking the buzzkill, my man.
I'm just playing. Yeah, hey, like I said, you know, it's all love. It's all love.
Miggy, I love you to pieces. We have a great relationship from the beginning to where we are now in the wrestling industry. I cannot wait till we all can go back out there, make some memories, have good times, give you crap, you give us them. I cannot wait for those days to come back. I miss them dearly. I cannot thank you enough for your time today. And you have given the fans a little bit of insight of Miggy Strypes because I didn't really know a whole lot about you because all I do is chant dumb shit at you. I apologize for that, but thank you for coming on, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, man. And like you said, hopefully this is all over so we can just go back to having shows and giving you fans, great shows.
I cannot wait. And this was Stir in the Pot with Don Kincaid. And I don't know if the intro got all effed up because of the whole freezer production and Miggy shitty ass connections probably using
I thought
128.
it was Bill hacking your Skype.
Oh, yeah, I bypassed that. I think you're using dial-up still. This was Stir in the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Ref Miggy Strypes. Oh, and don't forget, look him up on the face page and stuff. Miggy Strypes, is that how we find you?
Yep, Miggy Strypes on Facebook.
Yeah, Miggy Strypes, look him up. Get him on your shows. Be a fan. Thank you, Miggy. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Don. Have a good one, man.